A major geopolitical shift is unfolding behind the scenes, and Washington is not happy about it. Germany is now moving away from American LNG, Canada is quietly becoming Europe's new strategic energy partner, and billion-dollar defense agreements are rapidly reshaping Western alliances. At the same time, tariffs, rising fuel prices, and supply chain instability are putting growing pressure on America's manufacturing heartland, especially the auto industry. Welcome back to your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit. From collapsing Canadian trust in the United States to Germany's massive energy pivot, here are the developments that could permanently reshape global power, trade, and transportation markets. Tariff shockwave. America's manufacturing engine starts cracking. The economic pressure building inside the United States is becoming impossible to ignore. Rising oil prices tied to instability around the Strait of Hormuz are already increasing transportation and manufacturing costs across multiple industries, especially the automotive sector. For automakers, it is like trying to tune a high-performance engine while the fuel supply keeps changing every lap. Senator Elissa Slotkin recently warned that Michigan may now be one of the hardest-hit states because North American auto production depends heavily on seamless cross-border supply chains. A single vehicle can cross the US-Canada border several times before final assembly. Tariffs interrupt that process, driving up costs for suppliers, logistics companies, dealerships, and consumers. Meanwhile, uncertainty surrounding future CUSMA negotiations is delaying investments, slowing factory expansion plans, and weakening confidence among manufacturers already struggling with rising fuel and shipping expenses. But the manufacturing fallout is only one piece of a much larger geopolitical shift. While American industries wrestle with uncertainty, Canada and Germany are quietly accelerating a partnership that could reshape defense, energy, and global trade influence for years to come. Strategic pivot: Canada and Germany quietly reshape alliances. While Washington remains locked in political battles and trade disputes, Canada and Germany are rapidly strengthening cooperation across defense, industrial technology, and energy infrastructure. German Vice Chancellor Lars Klingbeil made it clear that Europe wants more stable partnerships that reduce vulnerability to geopolitical uncertainty. One of the biggest developments is Germany's planned adoption of Lockheed Martin, Canada's CMS 330 combat management system, in a deal expected to exceed $1 billion. In military terms, this technology works like the advanced electronic control systems inside modern performance vehicles, integrating sensors, communications, targeting, and battlefield coordination in real time. But defense is only part of the story. Germany is also deepening energy cooperation with Canada through renewable hydrogen agreements and long-term clean energy investments. Europe increasingly sees Canada as a politically stable, resource-rich partner capable of supporting future energy security without excessive dependence on American LNG exports. And that growing energy relationship may ultimately become the most damaging development for Washington, because Germany's next move could weaken one of America's strongest geopolitical tools: LNG dominance. LNG power shift: Germany turns toward Canada instead. One of the biggest geopolitical shifts now unfolding involves liquefied natural gas. For years, the United States became Europe's primary LNG supplier after Russian gas turned politically toxic following the Ukraine conflict. But now, Germany and several European buyers are actively exploring Canadian LNG as a long-term alternative. The concern goes far beyond pricing. European policymakers increasingly fear that relying too heavily on any single supplier creates strategic vulnerability. Canadian projects like the KC Leesim's LNG facility in British Columbia are suddenly attracting major international attention because Canada is viewed as politically stable and less likely to weaponize energy exports during diplomatic disputes. In many ways, energy security is now being treated like drivetrain redundancy in modern vehicles. Buyers want backup systems and flexibility. As Middle Eastern instability continues disrupting global shipping routes, countries are prioritizing reliability and predictability over simply chasing the cheapest fuel source available. But the energy shift is not just changing trade flows. it is also reshaping public opinion itself, especially inside Canada, where trust toward the United States appears to be deteriorating faster than many analysts expected. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this deep dive, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to Piston Pundit. It really helps us bring more industry analysis, automotive insight, and geopolitical breakdowns straight to fellow enthusiasts like you. Now, let's shift gears and move into what may be the most surprising development of all. Alliance breakdown. Canadian trust in America rapidly collapses. Perhaps the most shocking development is the collapse of Canadian public trust toward the United States. Recent polling shows many Canadians now question whether America remains a dependable ally during international crises. Even more surprising, some respondents reportedly view the United States as a greater threat to global stability than countries like Russia or China. That marks an extraordinary shift, considering the two nations spent generations building one of the world's closest economic and military partnerships. But rising political tensions, trade disputes, and increasingly aggressive rhetoric have clearly damaged public confidence. What makes this especially important is that skepticism now extends beyond partisan politics, including among many Canadian conservatives traditionally supportive of strong U.S. ties. Canada is not abandoning America entirely, but it is clearly diversifying relationships and reducing dependence wherever possible. Germany's growing cooperation with Canada perfectly reflects this broader geopolitical recalibration already reshaping Western alliances. And once public trust, energy partnerships, and defense cooperation all begin shifting simultaneously, reversing that momentum becomes incredibly difficult. That is exactly why many experts believe a much larger global realignment is already underway. Verdict: Western alliances are quietly being rewritten. The biggest story here is not simply that Canada and Germany are signing new agreements. It is that America's longtime allies are quietly preparing for a future where Washington may no longer serve as the unquestioned center of economic stability and geopolitical leadership. The United States remains an enormous military and economic superpower, but trust is increasingly becoming the most valuable currency in global politics. Once countries begin restructuring supply chains, energy imports, defense systems, and industrial partnerships, reversing that momentum becomes extremely difficult. Canada's rise as a politically stable energy exporter and strategic Western partner could reshape global trade flows for decades. For the automotive sector, these tensions also matter because fuel prices, manufacturing costs, and cross-border supply chains remain tightly connected. But what do you think? Is Europe making a smart move, diversifying away from American LNG? Will tariffs continue hurting North American manufacturing? And could Canada become a larger global power moving forward? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to Piston Pundit to stay updated on the latest vehicle news, industry shifts, and geopolitical developments shaping the future of transportation. Thanks for watching. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's plenty more to explore.